Her work can be seen currently in the Apex Gallery here in the museum, which is very cool. Please welcome, this is very funny, I'm used to introducing comics. Please welcome out, we're very lucky to have her, Wendy Red Star! Sorry about almost saying you're very funny, that's weird.
I like to think of myself as funny.
I think you are. I've just introduced a lot of comics that way. Wendy, thank you for being here.
Yeah, I brought you a gift.
You brought me a gift?
Yeah, and now I feel bad because actually I really like you and I should have brought it for you.
That's so sweet of you. I can take it from him.
I'm right here.
We'll see.
Well, maybe you guys can fight about it.
Okay.
Can we pass it back? Well, show us what it is.
This is amazing.
So I put on this kick where I've been beating these hats, and it's a hat that I found.
Beating?
Beating.
Beating.
Like Native Americans, we
Yes.
beat a lot.
Right. It's not like you said beating hats. Like, it's not that hard. They're hats.
Anyways, so it's a Native Muscleman hat, and they've been like flying off my website like hotcakes, so I wanted to give you one.
That is so sweet. Thank you so much.
It's a native muscle man.
Native Muscleman, yeah.
You know what? I've been doing this show for a couple years. This is my first on-stage gift.
First guest gift, yeah.
Aww.
Aww.
I'm going to put him on the owl for now. Thank you so much, Wendy. It is so cool to have you here. I'm so excited to talk to you. You mentioned you were funny. Let's start here, actually. So you tackle a lot of very serious issues, but also are totally funny. And you have, how do you approach what you're doing where both of those can be totally possible?
Well, like you said, I tackle some really difficult issues, and my way to get people into it, because they're very important, is to use humor. And I think by doing that, kind of breaking down some of the boundaries of those difficult issues, people won't dismiss it, or they won't get defensive, and they'll take some time to kind of figure out what's going on or rethink it.
Was that a conscious choice, or was that something that you were just like, you're also funny, so you wanted to say that, and then it worked?
I'm super sarcastic, so I think it's just who I am.
There was an example, one of your, so in your work currently in the Apex Gallery, one of the things you've done for part of it is you've taken these old photographs that have been reinterpreted in different ways over the years, and you're trying to rehumanize the figures in these works, right?
Yes.
One of the things, like one of them, for example, you written on the side, my remains were sold for $500, and another one you wrote, I can kick your ass with my eyes.
Yes, totally.
And I think and those two are like right next to each other. I think that really captures the two things you're trying to do at the same time.
Yeah.
Tell us more about this gallery. If you haven't been upstairs yet on the 4th floor, which you should because it closes this weekend, tell us about what you did up there.
Well, it's first of all, it's like my favorite exhibition that I've done thus far. It's really important to me, and it's about my tribe, and I'm Crow, and Crow Indians were from Montana area, originally from Montana, and those were our chiefs. So it was our first, when we got put on the reservation, these were the first reservation chiefs that are represented in that gallery. And so it's called the 1880 Crow Peace Delegation. So basically, the government was trying to take a bunch of our land away, and the chiefs traveled horseback for 2 weeks from Montana to Salt Lake. Then they rode a train, which the chiefs kept thinking they would see an iron horse because that's what it was called. And so they're like, where's the iron horse? And then they realized it was a train. I'm just thinking that would be so weird to have.
Yeah.
Disappointing.
But also that was like their first time ever on a train. How wild was that? So they went to Mount Vernon, and then they finally got to Washington, D.C., and then they're basically held captive for 30 days to make them homesick so that they would sign. Basically, the government wanted to put the railroad through a big chunk of our territory. So they also did weird things, like they took them to the zoo.
Right.
And so the whole exhibit is based on these two photographs of Chief Medicine Crow, and he's like super handsome. So I would just go up there just to see this incredibly handsome man. So he's very captivating, but his image has been reproduced like on Honest Tea. You could find him on Honest Tea. He's been on like books like Native American law books.
Like as a stock photo.
Yeah, and it's just kind of, so it's weird because he's a Crow chief of mine, and then to see him be kind of reproduced by artists and big kind of companies, but people don't, he's just like a handsome dude. And so I wanted to say, well, actually, he's way more than that. He's Medicine Crow, and they wore their finest outfits. And he's got these two things that look like bows on his hair. And through doing research, I found out what each of the components of their outfits mean. So basically, they're called hair bows, and what it means is that he had to overcome an enemy and slit their throat. So basically, he's walking around like a gangster.
Like
with
a teardrop tattoo.
It's like, I slit two people's throats, you know. So all of that is detailed in each of the photographs. So they took a delegation photo, a group photo, which is up there of the chiefs, and then individual portraits. And I basically line out what I know about those chiefs. And one of them, Pretty Eagle, when he died, he was buried on a reservation, and then the Bighorn County Sanitarian stole his body and sold it to a museum. So it's just it's so weird to see him, and then to realize that when you die, your body's going to be sold to a museum in New York, and it will be there for 72 years. And then the Crow tribe, we're going to get you back in like 94, and we're going to have a big celebration. But how crazy is that?
I mean, yeah, and when we see that photo normally, it doesn't have any of that part of that story. And so you've taken like the black and white photo, and then in very striking red outlines, you've written notes about what things mean, and also occasional jokes like "my eyes could kick your ass."
Totally. Did you see his eyes?
Yeah, he has really intense eyes. You were right. They're right on, well researched every bit. So the other thing you have in that gallery similar is that your daughter actually has work.
Yeah, so I have a 7-year-old daughter, and her name's Beatrice. And it kind of came full circle. So I was working really hard on outlining the chiefs and writing down stuff, and she was curious, and I had printed out a bunch of Xerox copies, and I was like, here you go, leave me alone.
And you just gave her the pictures to draw on?
I gave them to her, and then like she came back. I wasn't even thinking about it because I was so like engrossed in what I was doing, and she just made this amazing, colorful thing. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna make 20 of them, different images of those chiefs, and then she just went to town, and it's full circle. It's really great.
Yeah, it's so interesting because you got what you were doing on them to add meaning for us, and then she was adding her own meaning to it with green skin.
Green skin, crowns, you name it. It's really great.
It's also impressive because she's 7 and she's already displayed in the Portland Art Museum.
I know.
That is a career achievement.
It is really cool. She took her, just a couple weeks ago, her second grade class, she did a tour. She wore a traditional Altouth dress, and I couldn't talk. She was sick of me talking. So she ran the whole entire show. Yeah, it was great. And she even talked about the hair bows.
Yeah.
Slitting the throat, like,
Well, so
Coolest second grader ever.
Yes, that's a pretty good show and tell.
She's gonna tell her bullies that she can kick their ass with her eyes.
Or she'll get a hair bow on. So her career is obviously taking off, but yours is also, the response to your career has also been really incredible recently, this exhibit included. Are you surprised at the response to this? How has this been for you?
It's been really crazy. So I lived here for about 6.5 years, and I actually know Holly. We both taught at PSU and PNCA, and I follow her on Instagram. It's really
Isn't it great?
So I was here, and then I moved away back to Montana, back to my reservation, and I ran Chief Plenty State Park for a year. So one of the chiefs that's represented in the delegation, I ran his estate, which was really cool as a park ranger.
I knew that because you wrote that on his picture.
Yes. Wow, you really looked at it.
I did.
Thank you. And then I came back, and it's just been really incredible. I've had 4 museum solo shows. I'm featured on 4 different magazine covers.
Yeah, so many magazine covers.
Yeah, so it's been a really incredible experience, but I don't do art full-time. I work at Native Arts and Cultures Foundation as a program associate, and I'm really into promoting and strengthening Native arts, so that's another thing I do.
So this is what, I guess, I mean, this is a weird question, but like this reminds me of this, are people taking this, like when they see everything you do, are they taking it, do you think the right way? Like are people...
Appropriating that
Yeah, like are we...
Indian hat?
Are we re-appropriating what you're trying to rehumanize for us? Is that happening? I say we, I don't mean to be doing it.
Oh, you're taking...
Yeah, but like, yeah, do you think that's happening?
I think I play with that a lot in my work, so I think that's why taking a portrait of like Medicine Crow, who is very beautiful and stoically native, and then adding in information to it that you wouldn't expect.
Right.
I'm using what kind of the base level of like American like public school history knowledge is of Native people, and using that and then kind of jumping off of that. So I do kind of use these sort of stereotypical images, but to make you kind of get into it further, if that makes sense. But I'm a ham, and that's why I like, when I saw the Native muscle man thing, I like to play with that too, because it's all part of our history. Like, Native people have been stereotyped, so I'm going to talk about that too.
Yeah, what is the history of the Native muscle man? Because like I'm afraid that if I like
badass, I don't know.
But if I wear this, it's not like I'm supporting the Washington football team. Like there are different.
No, you should go to the Redskins wearing that hat and letting them know what's up.
I think most of them would be like, "Yeah, you're on our side." And I'm like, I'm not on your side at all. I'm so far away from your side.
Well, what's funny is the hats have sold. They've sold mostly to people in Canada, and they've been mostly First Nations people. So
has the response from First Nations people been amazing as well for all of your work?
Yeah, I'm really intrigued by what's going on with contemporary First Nations art. Actually, it's kind of one of my favorite things, and I hope to get more into the Canadian scene. But I have a lot of friends who are in Canada, and most of them are wearing my hats.
They are. I mean, it's a really cool hat. And the exhibit in the Apex Gallery right now is really striking. It's amazing. You also have a piece, really, one thing I noticed about it real quick is that you also have a piece that was in the museum's collection.
Yes.
That you are displaying without comment. And I wonder if, since you are a ham and you're sarcastic, like, are you also needling the museum who's being nice to you like we are tonight? Are you also poking back at them a little bit?
With the dress?
Yeah, by bringing out something from their collections and putting it in this very different context than it's been displayed in before?
Oh, yeah, I'm totally critiquing the way that Native people have been represented in museums, for sure. I mean, this series that I've done that's been really popular called The Four Seasons, I took a trip to the Natural History Museum in LA.
Yeah.
And I went there because I knew I'd see something from my tribe, which I did. But the Native American galleries were right next to the dinosaur exhibits. So for me, I wanted, because right below are the Native galleries. And so it was nice to be in the Contemporary Northwest art wing.
Right.
But I also wanted to play with that. Like, wait a minute, people are going to be going down there and coming up and probably thinking, why is there a Native exhibit up here? I wanted to play with that as well. I'm definitely critiquing that. Thank you for the Portland Art Museum.
Yeah.
letting you do that.
The photos the Four Seasons photos where you are posing yourself in these dioramas.
Yeah.
Is also very striking.
Thank you.
It's really amazing. You guys should definitely go. You haven't checked it out. It's on the 4th floor in the Apex Gallery. It's here through the 7th. So if you haven't yet, come back this weekend and check it out. And also wendyredstar.com. Yeah. Do you also Instagram?
I do. You need to follow me.
I will. Well, she obviously Holly's not going to follow me back because I am garbage. But she curates her
just
feed.
Croissants and latte art.
It's terrible.
A lot of selfies.
What's your Instagram handle?
It's just Wendy Red Star.
Wendy Red Star and WendyRedStar.com. Ladies and gentlemen, Wendy Red Star!